All right, class, here is lesson 3, experimental and theoretical probability. So you've learned about basic probability, and typically what you've been doing is theoretical probability, but I'm going to explain to you there's two types of probability, either experimental or theoretical. Let's just jump right into it. Experimental probability is based on repeated trials of an experiment. So you're doing something over and over again and recording your results and then getting a probability from those results. Whereas theoretical probability is what is there, essentially. What are your favorable outcomes versus your possible outcomes? So it defines it as when all possible outcomes are equally likely, the theoretical probability of an event is the ratio of the number of favorable outcomes to the number of possible outcomes. So that's how we would set up our proportion. Our ratio. All right. So the bar graph shows the results of rolling a number cube 50 times. What is the experimental probability of rolling an odd number? So we're looking at experimental because they did an experiment. They rolled a number cube, which is just a dice, 50 times. And then they recorded their results, and the results are here to the left on this bar graph. So when they rolled that number cube, they rolled a 1 10 times. They rolled a 2 4 times. They rolled a 3 8 times. They rolled a 4 11. They rolled a 5 11. And they rolled a 6 6 times. So out of those 50 times, that's how many they rolled each of the individual numbers. Okay, because remember, a dice has the numbers 1 through 6 on it for the 6 sides. Now, I want to know the probability of rolling an odd number. So we have to look at all of our odd numbers, which are 1, 3, and 5. If you roll a 1, 3, or a 5, you rolled an odd. So how many times did we roll an odd number? So we're going to look at our results. 10, 8, and 11. But I want to know the total. So to figure out the probability of rolling an odd, we're going to add 10 plus 8 plus 11. When you add those together, you get 29. So the probability of rolling an odd is 29 out of how many total times did we do this? How many trials were there? 50. So our probability is 29 out of 50. Let's do another type of problem. Let's look to the right. If it rains 2 out of the last 12 days in March, if this trend is going to continue, how many rainy days would you expect in April? So it rained 2 out of the 12 days at the end of March. So that means, I'm going to simplify this, it rained 1 in every 6th day. So if that trend's going to continue, it rains once every 6th day. I want to know out of all the days in April, how many days would we expect it to rain? So we would need to know how many days are there in April. Well, we're in May now. April just ended. There were 30 days in April. So if there's going to be 30 total days, out of those 30 days, how many days would you expect it to rain if it rains 1 out of every 6th day? So we're just going to solve this proportion. You could cross multiply. I know there's all my cross multiplication kings and queens out there. Go ahead and do that if you like that. Or those that might see some sort of connection like I'm seeing here. I know that 5 times 6 is 30. So what's 1 times 5? That would give us 5. So we would expect it to rain 5 days in April. Let's keep going. You randomly choose one of the letters shown. What's the theoretical probability of choosing a vowel? So let's look here. How many vowels are there? I see E, O, E. I see 3. out of how many total letters are there? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So theoretically means just what do we have there? How many vowels are there? 3 out of how many total? 7. And our last problem. Theoretical probability of winning a bobblehead when spinning a prize wheel is 1 out of 6. If the wheel has 3 bobblehead sections, how many sections are on the wheel? So 1 out of 6, you have a chance of winning that bobblehead. So that means 1 out of every 6 spots, there's a bobblehead winning. So if there's 3, I want to know how many total spots there are. So now we're just going to set up and solve this proportion. I know that 1 times 3 gives me 3. So what's 6 times 3? That means there are 18 sections on this prize wheel. All right, that's it for lesson 3.